resourced to fulfill their mandates free from political manipulation. There must be justice for victims of state violence, past and present. Corruption and wastage must be confronted decisively, and those responsible for human rights violations and the looting of public resources must be held accountable. This statement has been signed and endorsed by 21 civil society organizations who are responsible for the organization of the event that we have it.
For the members of the press, it's now the opportunity to welcome any questions, clarifications that you may have. So you will introduce yourself, your name and the station that you represent, and you ask your question. So by show of hands, so that we can have a coordinated Thank you so much. Then if there's none, then we really thank you for availing yourselves and also giving us coverage for this event. And we wish you all the very best. Happy. Oh, it's another one. Okay. So you will just introduce yourself.
James Wanzala from the Standard Newspaper. As here shows, how can you rank the current regime when it comes to this?
Only that one.
Any other question? Any other question? So I can only answer at the same time. Just to add on also, on the issue number 3 on demand, there must be justice for victims of state violence, past and present. What do you say about the plans to compensate them? Do you think that's enough or there is more than needs to be done?
So I think maybe you can pick up on that. There are two questions.
Thank you. So for the questions around the scorecard, qualitatively, let me start from there. Qualitatively, we are talking about a state of human rights abuses crisis. It is basically really in April, we did a 2.5-year midterm work, and we found that 30%, it's only 30% of Kenyans who are satisfied with the country is running, and over 87% are dissatisfied. And the country is basically run within the position of government. Out of 10, I would qualitatively as well because of even the kind of integrations we have seen right? Because I look at about 23 out of the 10, and this is extremely gracious. Extremely gracious. Yeah, gracious more. Yeah, just because of the reals of Kenyans are able to come forward in terms of protection. But the state of relation is extremely large. So, this competition framework, we are still in conversation around it as a society. But from our side, we are taking a position that you don't need this framework because first, there's lack of political will. There are more than 10 things the regime in power can administratively implement even without getting this mechanism. And once you do that, you get like 50% of the justice provided to this case. But we have also done further analysis and found that this whole initiative, and we have called it populist, it is unconstitutional, it's full of executive overreach and corruption. For example, why would you have an initiative which report to the executive office of the president, who is politically responsible for the atrocities which are being investigated? And it's the same question we have raised on corruption, the multi-agency team. that team is supposed to be reporting to the president, who is obviously going to be one of the institutions of investigation. Number two, this initiative is supposed to liaise with the interior, which is responsible for the killing, the office of the AG, which has been defending the regime fought against all these atrocities, and of course Treasury, which is responsible for the anti-people finance bill, which even led to the protest. And we have also seen now the latest proposition of some of the members of the party. So what we are saying is this is basically going to cover up, whitewash, ban it, disband it, but because we have a lot of commitment to establish true justice and reparation, we are saying there are more progressive ways of dealing with this, and already we have constitutional institutions, International Commission on Human Rights, we have the Police Oversight Authority, we have Commission for Administrative Justice, we have constitutional institutions which have been given power under Chapter 15 to investigate different elements of governance and business. So that is part of the ideas we are talking about.
Let's have our colleague Wangeshi also to add a few of the same.
Compensation?
Yes, okay. But let's allow them to settle in that, so that when you ask, you can be handled systematically. Thank you. Please say your name.
My name is Esther Diana from Standard Media Group, Diana. So from the speeches we've been reading, it's different that this district change, and we understand that the issue is that the other identification is 15 years. Some of them will want to take this reaction with all administrative criminal implementation of the constitution go to the how do the other
So just to add a few thoughts around this compensation framework, there are critical questions again that we are raising. Indeed, the right to compensation is something that needs to be fast-tracked, but we are questioning the how. Now remember that we have the Victims Protection Act that provides for a Victims Protection Fund. Now this Victims Protection Fund has never been operationalized, and that is a big question. Where are we setting up different mechanisms when the law actually provides for an existing mechanism that needs to be operationalized so that all victims, and here we are looking at all victims, can access compensation. And going beyond compensation, we really are speaking about justice, we are speaking about accountability, and we are speaking about reparations. The three go together. It's not just compensation. So one of the things that we are really looking forward, one is that the government admits and acknowledges these gross human rights violations, the extrajudicial killings, and remember, every year we have published figures, data on persons that lost their lives, on persons that have been injured, persons that were maimed. And finally, we also would like to ensure that the system that is used is not a system where we are turning the law, and we've really spoken about disregard to the rule of law and the provisions of the Constitution. These proclamations are not within what is fundamentally provided for in the Constitution. So we are asking that we align ourselves to the Constitution and that the President and the Executive live true to the Constitution. Thank you. On the question of devolution and the past regimes, Diana is going to respond to that.
Thank you very much. We definitely, as we celebrate 15 days, 15 years of the Constitution, we spotlight the government in power, and the government in power is led by Dr. William Samoei Ruto. But the failures of particularly devolution and disregard for the rule of law and separation of power did not start with Dr. Milton. Indeed, President Kibaki made his contribution, particularly during the transitional period when critical legislation was to be enacted and certain institutions were to be established. Then came the Jubilee regime led by Kenyatta, and the deputy was William, and devolution continued to be defiled. Let me say this. Why we continue to celebrate the Constitution as a citizen is because it is very clear since 2010 that the Constitution was imposed on the political class. There have been attempts to defeat devolution through the establishment of regional blocks. We ran away from that level of coordination, but it has been institutionalized. The transfer of functions and unbundling of functions according to Schedule 4 has not been done to date, 15 years down the line. The first 2013 to 2017, the focus was on setting up the needed legal frameworks. 2017 to 2022, we should have fully unbundled and transferred functions. Counties are supposed to be getting 15% of all national expenditure at the end. When they are being awarded, it looks like they have 15. But when the returns are filed, counties barely get 9%, and all those disbursements are delayed. Now, by the time we are in the 15th year, this is a teenager, you know them, you can see them, we understand devolution better. Why we spotlight the regime is because 15 years, they want to take over trade that had been devolved. They have centralized health and their funds are going back to SHA in one way or another. Housing is a devolved function. Agriculture and fertilizer is a devolved function. Why are they still clinging to it? Oh, and finally, procurement of medical equipment is back, centralized. Surely, a teenager can shop for themselves according to the needs of their counties, and that is what was intended. And that is why we are spotlighting this particular regime. And based on
Thank you very much.
Viva Katiba, viva!
Viva!
Tekeleza Katiba, tekeleza!
Tekeleza!
Tekeleza Katiba, tekeleza!
Tekeleza!